Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. Just a quick update. It is we're on day 7 of. Before we get into the Kenny Miller meltdown, let's be honest. This is what the video is about. Kenny Miller finally resurfaces. Has anybody found or has anybody seen Chris Boyd? I'm getting a bit concerned. I am getting truly concerned. Nobody's seen him or heard of Chris Boyd since Celtic won the double. Yes, since Celtic won the double. So if you've seen Chris Boyd, say hello to him from us all, from all the Celtic fans all around the world. And today is all about Kenny Miller. Kenny Miller finally resurfaced out of his hidden, darkened room where he sat shaking back and forward in a darkened room in the corner. Kenny Miller took to the airwaves last night and, yep, pretty much had a meltdown as normal. So this is the one that we have been waiting for, is the Kenny Miller meltdown. But just a quick update on the missus, and thank you for all the messages. We are in day 7 of her being in ICU. People will say, what are you doing videos if your missus is in ICU? Well, this is it's an income source, and she's told me to start getting back to my other YouTube channels. So anyway, the work needs to go on. It's as simple as that. With that being said, she is getting a 3D scan on her heart this morning. She has had one operation that was successful last Friday when she was rushed into hospital, and she's now getting possibly ready for a second operation on her heart. So anyway, I need something to cheer me up. I need something to cheer me up, and thankfully, Kenny Miller's on hand today. Thankfully, Kenny Miller is back and he's on hand. But first of all, we're going to listen to.
How you doing, boys? All right?
Yes, you. What do you think?
Going to listen to one of the Meltdown FC fans
Tonight.
Just a wee quick question for Kenny. I was just wondering what his opinion would be in changing Rangers captain for next season coming.
Whoa! Wait a minute now. I thought the captain was a Hall of Famer. I thought he was held up there in esteem, and he was in the Hall of Fame of the mighty Sevconian FC. Tell me about it.
No, give us your opinion first, Dylan. Because
I
know where this is heading.
I've no got one in mind, but I'm just thinking.
Wait a minute.
He's only had one League Cup or League title, really, isn't he? For where he's came from and where he's been. So
anyway, get in touch.
Any longer, so that would be natural.
I don't know.
I'd like him to still be there, yeah.
So that would be the first question.
Well, listen,
I've no got one in mind, but I'm just thinking. He's only had one League Cup or League title, really, isn't he? For where he's came from and where he's been. So I'm just thinking maybe change things up a wee bit. Somebody more informative in charge.
Will he still be there?
I'd like him to still be there, yeah.
So that would be the first question.
Well, listen, I think there may be a situation where Tav's not at the club any longer, so that would be natural. There needs to be a new captain. Somebody
There may be trouble ahead.
else needs to be selected to lead. I'm like you, Dylan. I'm kind of racking my brain. Who I know the obvious ones there in terms of Jack Butland being there. If he's
not going to be there after the summer. Does Kenny Miller really think that Jack Butland is the man to hang around and be captain of Rangers? That's an interesting one. But anyway, let's listen to the meltdown of Kenny Miller as it continues. And I've got to love the Simon Donnelly, who's sitting with a baseball cap on, by the way. He is sitting with a baseball cap on. A lot of people say, get your fucking hat off. Why are you doing me a hat on? Well, Simon Donnelly's sitting with a hoodie and a baseball cap on, and he knows he's on the telly.
if he's still there as well, and Rangers managed to kind of evade any prospective bids from again any number of clubs, but he would be the obvious one. I just think that even for a goalkeeper, I just think it's a tough one. You know, I believe that Rangers, that the captain should be right in the heat of the battle and able to kind of reach his teammates all over the field. It's tough for a goalkeeping position to actually lead that way. But for me, again, if Tavernier's still there, I think he gets so much criticism, unrightly so, unfairly, in my opinion, as a captain. At that time when Steven Gerrard came in and made him the captain, he had even been the captain towards the end of the previous season. What
has he won? He's a Hall of Famer, but what has he won? He's the most successful Celtic Rangers captain. He's a cheerleader for it. He's Mr. Disappointed, isn't he?
Wasn't too many options available. Had Alan McGregor been in the building maybe a little bit earlier, that could have been won a game, but then you've still got the goalkeeping situation. Steve Davis was another one that came 6 months later. That would have been an obvious one because he's already captained the team. So again, moving forward, it would probably need to be either if James Tavernier was to move on, because if he's still there, for me, he stays as the captain. I think it's such a big decision for any manager to replace a captain. I mean, I've played in teams. I played at Rangers 2000 where Dick Advocaat took it off Lorenzo Amoruso and gave it to Barry Ferguson. And
What
that
was
was
that
a big call. I mean, Lorenzo's a huge character in that dressing room, and that was a really big call. And listen, it went doing okay, I think, because it was Barry Ferguson.
Amoruso.
You know, I think in terms of his performances, you would have seen he was.
Anyway, who cares? Who really cares? Who cares?
If you said you wouldn't be overly surprised, as in, are you going as far to say you expect him to not be there, or is it just a kind of you won't be surprised either way?
I think this is the one end of season, summer, close season that I've felt he could potentially leave. I don't know, and listen, I know James well for playing with him. He's not someone I speak to on a weekly, monthly basis. I've just got a feeling.
I thought you knew him well when I've run, mate. You're just a bit confused. I know him well, but I don't speak to him on
That if he was ever going to leave, it might be this summer. The minute the season's done, he's signed and done, and he's going to be a Rangers player next season.
Ross has tweeted in to say, can you please give a shout out to my...
No, we can't. We certainly can't. This is an interesting one, because then the calls of no surrender turns to, should we sack the Rangers manager again? How many managers are you actually going to go through, Joe?
On the phone in constantly, you hear everybody talking Tavernier, Goldson and all the rest of it. There is a problem at Rangers. There is a huge problem at Rangers. And
50,000 of them singing up to your knees and feigning blood on a regular basis. Honestly, change your mindset. It's 2024. It's not 1690. You weren't even born then. You don't know what the Billy Boys was. In fact, Big Billy fell off his horse, didn't he?
all the Rangers fans can see it. I mean, I sit in the Broomlow.
I see it. You see it. Even Patsy sees it. It's kens it, isn't it? You ken it. I ken it. Patsy kens it. The younger ones don't get that, do they? You get some of the younger ones. What is it with the Patsy kens it jokes? They don't get it. They just don't. Anyway, move on.
One of my sons, there's a huge problem at Rangers, and we need to get to the bottom of it. We need a clear out. We need a clear out, and I think Clement, we need to be saying to him, listen, do you know what this takes? We're already lost the boy Cordoba. I mean, if you believe the press today, he's chose Norwich over Rangers. Okay, what does that say? Is it more money or whatever? I don't know. But we're going to have a lot of
Wait a minute here. He's chosen a club that didn't get promoted over the mighty Rangers.
I think in the summer, and a lot of players will be looking at this going, are we really going to have a summer then compete with...
Are we the people, or are we the toilet paper? Or are we the toilet people? No, we are the toilet paper, innit? We are shite. We are the toilet paper.
Celtic. It pains me to say it. I mean, it really does. But I don't think so. I think it's going to take more than the summer window, and it's going to take... I'm just not sure if Clement has what it takes to do it. I just don't think he's... I hope I'm wrong. I honestly hope I'm wrong, but I just don't think he's got what it takes, and I think Derek McInnes does.
Whoa, wait a minute here. Bombshell has just been dropped. Sack the manager. Sack the manager and bring in Derek McInnes, who knocked back the job when he was at Aberdeen a few years back. But now that he's out Kilmarnock, it's usually people go for Rangers to Kilmarnock at the end of their career. Is this the way of Derek McInnes? Because let's face it, Aberdeen fans would have hated Derek McInnes if he had left Rangers and left Aberdeen, and went to Rangers. But now the fact that he's at Kilmarnock, maybe it's a little stepping stone to Ibrox. But let's face it, Derek McInnes isn't going to get one over Celtic, is he? Not really.
Well, listen, Joe, I hope I hope he does as well, because there's one thing for sure: Philippe Clement's going nowhere. You know, he's going to have the ability to recruit in the summer, along with the recruitment team, the chief exec, the head.
I love the way that Simon Donnelly's just sitting here in the background, and he's just sitting, keep looking. He's just not interested in them at all. It's funny as fuck. It's as blatant as it could be. It's a bit like when they were at the cup final. Their cheerleaders, Alan McGregor and Alan Hutton, and the wee news girl that was doing the commentating or whatever it is, and they turned their back on the Celtic fans, on the Celtic players lifting the cup, and they just looked out to the empty stands of where the Rangers fans once stood, to see a lonely Rangers fan sitting watching Celtic lift the cup. You got to feel for them. No, you don't.
The recruitment now, Neil Scotland, that they're going to have. I mean, there's no doubt they'll have been doing their work leading into summer, but it is a huge task, because the one thing's for sure, I think again to defend Philippe a little bit in relation to the bigger job, that's clearly he's been in now and assessed. You can only
wait a minute, defend him. This is the guy that won the moral victory on a 3-3 draw. They celebrated a victory. It wasn't a victory, it was a draw. You remember that? We need to remember. You can't let them forget that. You can't let them forget dying in 2012. And then up there with that is celebrating a 3-3 draw as if you'd won the league when you didn't.
Says so much from the outside looking in, looking at performances and obviously and doing your homework and your due diligence on the job. Once you're in a building and you're seeing how people are behaving every single day, every single training session, then you're going to make decisions there. And for me, for a long time now, I don't care if Rangers had won the league and won the Scottish Cup. The changes that were coming were coming. It was as simple as.
No, they weren't. If Rangers had won the Scottish Cup, the treble, you would be saying that they were the best team in the land and that the players were the best thing since sliced bread.
I think Philippe knew exactly what was going to be required. And by the way, it'll not just be on playing staff. There's been obviously a lot of things he's alluded to over his time as the Rangers manager that he's not been entirely happy with. And the question is, Joe, is he the guy? You know, but there's one thing for sure.
So now you're admitting it. Is he the guy? Is he the right guy for the job? I don't know. I'm going to get one of the machines, the machines that fires out the fake money. That's like Rangers managers to Brendan Rodgers.
Sure, he will be the guy leading Rangers into next season, and I think you have to trust him and you have to back him. The club need to, but you're right. I think in the last few years, Rangers have been stung by maybe finishing a season off maybe a little bit strongly, and then at the start of the next season, it's fell flat. I mean, I think the
oh, wait a minute. That's right. Remember, Beale had the better. He had one over Ange Postecoglou. I can take him. I can take him, says the board members of the. We have him in our sights. Oh, God, I'm going to end up there as well. Jesus.
Last two managerial changes, Giovanni seemed to get a lift straight away. There was a European final, there was a Scottish Cup one. Started that next season, it was so flat, and it was like there was like a real disconnect between the fans and the team. Gio lost his job, Michael Beale came in. He had a similar impact to what Gio did and what Philippe Clement has at the start. Big games were lost, cup finals were lost, and at the start, the whole summer of recruitment came, and the start of the next season was flat again. Michael loses his job and Philippe comes in. So there's a pattern developed over the last 3 seasons, but obviously Steven Gerrard left to go into Villa, but it was the same.
That's a fucking quality. Absolute quality. It's rinse and repeat. It's called rinse and repeat. It's like, see if you do the same thing over and over and over and get the same results, you're doing something wrong. It's simple. It is really simple.
Same time of the season. The thing is, if Rangers believe that Philippe Clement's the man, and they clearly do, and I think rightly so, he deserves to get the backing. He deserves the opportunity to say, you know what, I am the guy to build this club back and start delivering sustained success. But this summer is going to be key to it, because there's going to be so much comings and goings. It is not the ideal way to start building to try and get a level of success. So he's going to have to do it.
So how do you... What? Kenny Miller just talks utter pish, doesn't he? Could you imagine saying to Ange Postecoglou, wait a minute, see this rebuild thing that you're wanting to do? Yeah, it's not the right way to go about it. it's like you come in, you get the right man in the job, you get the right players in the job, and it's Bob's your uncle. But Bob's not my uncle. Why did they say Bob's your uncle? I've no idea.
He's going to have to get his signings right. He's going to have to start next season very well.
It just
Again, he has to start his season very well. He has to start his season very well. Anyway, let's see. I need to screenshot this just a minute because this kind of I'll put this picture up, and it's you can see the life getting sucked out of the presenter on scoreboard. You can actually see the life getting sucked out of him by every caller, every single one. The life is just getting completely sucked right out of him by the onslaught. Let's see what Martin has in Strathaven has to say.
He's only been there since January and he's blanked in 10 or 11 goals.
what does bursting the bank look like, Martin? How high would you go?
I'd go as much as 10 million for him.
Martin's got a few quid. He's chucking it about. Simon, this is Kim. I'm only joking, Martin. Simon, what was your take on it? This has picked up pace. It was always going to when the season ended. But he scored the winner in a cup final. He's then gone on Instagram last night. I love you all and thank you and all the best and goodbye, which might not mean anything.
I don't think his Instagram thing means.
Would you go 10 million?
A thing in terms of listen. I think they should go and get him. Whether they have to spend 6, 7, I don't know. It's not my money, but I think he's done enough to be considered. He scored the winner in the final. And I was talking to guys at the weekend, important goals for Celtic. I covered the Motherwell game when they were almost down and out, and he's popped up with 2 really important goals. I think his debut through at Easter Road, important goals. And I was on the show when he signed, and I did say it. I says, look, it's a great opportunity for the lad coming into that business end of the season. There's going to be big games that he's going to be involved in, and he's really stepped up.
Right, Adam Ida has stepped up, but when we look at the bigger transfer window and what Celtic will ultimately do this transfer window, it remains to be seen whether Celtic will go for Adam Ida and whether they'll spend that money, or will they go back to Brøndby? There's been speculation this morning that Celtic may go back to Brøndby. The chief executive of Brøndby has said that he is expecting an offer this summer for Matthias Kidsford-Garden. Remember him that Celtic fell short last season. Celtic did fall short by a couple of, it was about 400 grand in the valuation. It has been suggested again that the Danish team who have finished their season, they tried to block their move during the season when Celtic went for them. But it may be a case that Celtic may go back for the 21-year-old. So, would that be of interest to Celtic fans? Or should we stick with the tried and tested? You know that there's 2 options, and you know the way that Celtic will go about this. They'll look to maximise the potential return on any investment, which they always do. Is Adam Ida going to give them that potential return on the investment? If they go out and spend, say, there's this crazy number's been thrown around, anything between 6 and 10 million. Will Celtic get a serious return on that investment? Can we turn him into a 15 to 20 million pound player? It's an honest assertion of the what's actually going on at the moment. So you can only ascertain that Celtic are going to think, look, we've got this guy that we can go out and spend some good money on. He's tried and tested in the league, or we can go out and spend between 4 and 6 million on someone that's younger and maybe potentially maximise a good return on that. You know the way that Celtic, we all know the way that Celtic work. For me, if we've got the money, why don't we go and get Adam Ida and the Brøndby guy? Kyogo hasn't been on fire as much as what he could have or should have this season through various things. Not all Kyogo's fault. The way that he was playing, he was dropping down further into midfield at the beginning of the season. People were saying that Kyogo was getting played out of position. Could it be the fact that the wingers weren't good enough. Tell me what you think in the comments section before we head back to the one and only Meltdown FC fans. So yes, we give the final word to the one and only Sevco Meltdown FC fan.
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
Good, yeah, all good here. What are you thinking tonight then?
I'm just thinking there's guys phoning in there and they're talking about Clement maybe not being the man for the job. I think it's a bit unfair to be saying the very least, considering the injury list we've had over the whole season. I know everybody has injuries, but the injury list Rangers have had has been absolutely brutal.
On the bus. He's one of them. He's probably got a season ticket at Hearts also. But anyway, let's listen to Ian from Goldbridge as he goes into a meltdown about the unfair advantage Celtic have had over the season. Because Celtic didn't have any injuries at all, even though the media, yes, the media right at the beginning of the season up until October, near enough till December, it was all about the injury crisis at Celtic that Rangers couldn't take advantage of.
Yeah, like Kenny, we said it earlier, it's got to be about balance, because nobody's saying you can't criticise Philippe Clement. You
Did, but
because
sometimes
Dessel's got criticised every time, and there was nobody.
10 first team starters injured at any point
I know,
because
but
they wouldn't have been played.
I know, but it led to a real lack of options at times.
No,
didn't
it did. But
because
sometimes
Dessel's got criticised every time, and there was nobody to take his place.
He did, but that's not to say that Danilo would have been the guy, because we've not. So that's what I'm saying.
I know, but at some point
it's
you
options,
need an option.
but you can't just think, well, these guys are going to be back, so Rangers are going to be better next year. That's no. So I'm not buying into that kind of chat. But for Philippe Clement, he made more out of the squad that he had. He put the team into a position to challenge, which looked highly unlikely. The League Cup was won like it should have been won against Aberdeen, and they got to the Scottish Cup final, and it was a poor game. It was decided on a moment. That was it. So we're not anywhere near that type of chat. But see, if the only problem is getting all the injuries back, then you wouldn't be talking about kind of massive overhauls. I think the injuries sometimes can be part of an
excuse. Yes, just an excuse. They should maybe look at a problem called only an excuse. Anyway, no, you shouldn't. Hope you enjoyed the videos today. Thank you for all the comments, and make sure that I see you on the next one. And on that note, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans all around the world.